Assalamualaikum and a very good day I bid to all present in our forum. With me, Sorayadin, who will be serving as your moderator for today's forum. We will cover the topic of a recent news in Malaysia regarding the abolishment of Ujian Penilaian Sekolah Rendah, UPSR, and Pentaksiran Tingkatan 3 PT3, which was publicly announced on the 28th of April 2021. Present with us today are 6 individuals representing different parties from our community and government who will be sharing their respective views regarding today's topic. To briefly introduce our panelists, let me first welcome Miss Anis Kairina, a student representative from Sekolah Kebangsaan Bandar Puteri. Next, we have Miss Shanaya, who is a parent of 2 children who are supposed to be facing the aforementioned examinations this year. Attending today, we also have Miss Nelnisha, a headmaster from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Bukit Tinggi. Honored to have with us today is also our country's Senior Education Minister, Dato Dr. Razzie Jidin. And next, I'm also honored to welcome Dr. Mazli Malik, our country's former Education Minister. And lastly, glad to have joined us today is Professor Madya Dr. Azli Nurhaini Mansur from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. Without further ado, I would firstly like to invite Ms. Anis Karina to share with us her view that represents the students' general standpoint regarding today's topic.
Thank you to the moderator for having me, Anis Kairina, as the student representative from Sekolah Kebangsaan Bandar Puteri. I also represent the other students' voices as well. In regards with the announcements of the abolishment of UPSR, which definitely has put the most effect on us, the students, I'm going to provide the overall majority feedback based on the astronomical amount of students from this research that I made last few weeks, Not to forget my personal view on this subject as well. Factually, most of us has shown the positive reaction towards this thing. As we all know, all the UPSR candidates are facing sudden stress build-up due to the preparation that we must make before sitting for the exam. We are planted with the basis of studying to get 6 A's. If we do not study with the aim of getting an A, it will rack us up at the end of the day. So we sometimes forget the actual meaning of going to school, which is to discover the way of learning that fits us the most and to escalate our intelligence, our educational performance, based on our passion, which I believe is different among all of the students. Not everyone can directly memorize the whole textbook and hit everything during the exam. This will certainly not bring us anywhere, coupled up with the secondary school requirements that use the measurement of UPSR, for the enrollment there. So that obviously causes us with the intensified pressure to get straight A's. Last but not least, I want to quote my own feedback where UPSR being dissolved is a relief because I can finally go to school to learn because I loved it, not merely because of harvesting A's in UPSR. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the very informative sharing just now, Ms. Anis. I believe it can be confirmed that the students are indeed in favour of the government's decision. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Shanaya to share her views as the representative of students' parents.
Thank you, Mr. Rai, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on this topic. I'm here to represent my perspective as a parent. In my perspective, abolishment of UPSR and cancellation of PT3 had given a negative impact on my children. I've been preparing them as early as primary 1 facing these examinations. Now the effort is gone down the drain. I really do believe UPSR and PT3 examinations have provided students with a clear measure of their understanding. Not only that, but also mastery of knowledge and their capabilities academically. I was making early preparations to ensure that my children face these exams well, and now I wonder if they will be able to cope up in Form 1 later with the abolition of UPSR. I do believe that school-based assessments alone are not sufficient enough because academic performance may fluctuate from term to term. So the UPSR is actually a good measure of their overall academic capabilities in primary school. I advise my children and prepare them by sending for tuition, and all of a sudden they don't get to sit for exams. I feel really disappointed. Also, without these assessments, it's really hard for the students to figure out which intakes are suitable because of different admission methods. Like for admission to boarding schools for Form 1 in 2022 and Form 4 in 2022, these forms only give the opportunity for the students to sit for the PKSR. So I do believe my decision will be taken into consideration. Thank you.
Well said there, Ms. Shanaya. Thank you so much for willingly sharing with us your view on this topic. Moving on, I will now be inviting Ms. Nelnisha to share with us the view she has regarding this matter from the point of view of an educator.
Thank you, Ms. Suraya, for giving me this opportunity to share my insight on this topic. As an educator, I represent the voice of teachers in the nation. In my perspective, the abolishment of UPSR and the cancellation of PT3 had brought a drastic change to the education system. This astounding decision had brought together many parties to express their perspective. In contrast with it, the teachers seemed to have the most positive perspective on this measure. As the examination season starts, the stakes are high and pressuring for both students and teachers. Teachers have to complete the syllabus in a rush to focus the revisions and ensuring all students to have a good understanding on the topic so that they can proceed further. The limited time to complete the syllabus creates a difficulty for the teachers to evaluate each and every student's progress. This highly affects the students' preparation before the examination. Various students have various capabilities and pace of learning on their lessons. Therefore, teachers had to grind some students with continuous exercise and train them to memorize answers rather than making sure them understanding the substance. At the end, it comes down to what as we educators want for our students. This decision provides a room of freedom for teachers, us, in conducting learning sessions that are not centered on repetitive answering and exercises. As the saying, one size does not fit all. Customized teaching and learning aided with supplemental tools would be personalized and experiential learning for all the students. And as well as us education can build up education model that is more holistic and engaging. Hence, I believe this decision is a right call. Thank you.
I believe that you made several relevant points there. Thank you so much, Ms. Nisha. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Razzie Jidin to share his view regarding our topic as one of the people who is in charge of our country's education system.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Soraya, for giving this opportunity to express my views on this crucial platform. The government has done surveys for respondents that consist of teachers, parents, and students with care. The idea for abolishing UPSR was not spawned with a few months, but since 2010. Thus, we carried on studies and further data analysis on whether we should abolish UPSR or not. Furthermore, we also contemplated on making this optimistic decision primarily because our country is currently voyaging towards the fourth industrial revolution known as IR 4.0. Education 4.0 is definitely a desired approach that focuses on artificial intelligence, robotics, and many more technological advancements. Of course, it goes without me asking all of you on the benefits of online learning during this COVID-19, right? This is just a stepping stone for students and teachers to acquire knowledge about technology in learning and gauging so that we can be prepared for any future situations as well. We have to make a stand on making assessments such as PBD to evaluate students' performance in schools. Intrinsically, we should know that gaining knowledge and applying them on a daily basis is the main reason we go to school. Moreover, we also heard pleading opinions to abolish UPSR because it's just not fair to demarcate upper class, average class, and low class students. Well, we considered that there must be no discrimination anymore among students, and all of them must be treated equally, which is why we chose PBD to evaluate their intelligence and hidden talents. As for cancellation of 4PT3, I have to admit that we established this decision because of the safety for students during this pandemic. They also lack face-to-face learning for a long period of time. They might slacken their confidence levels to answer exams. Instead, students are evaluated based on classroom-based assessments known as PBD for their entrance to new streams of classes in Form 4 and boarding schools too. Well, the government believes the decisions are equitable based on all possible angles that we have seen. Thank you.
Well justified sharing and view it was Dr. Razzie. Thank you so much for providing us with more information and reasoning behind the government's decision. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Mazli to share with us on whether he supports or opposes this decision.
Thank you very much to the moderator. And first and foremost, let me cut to the chase. I completely disagree with what have the Ministry of Education come with. Their solution towards the abolishment of UPSR and cancellation of PT3 is somewhat lazy. They're just doing it on a whim. And I say this because this is a premature decision without any irrational decision to subsequently control what they have done. Why do I say this? Because we do not have a conducive and conductive system in place after the abolishment, after the cancellation. Yes, we are going with a holistic assessment method, but this is somewhat temporary. Why not come up with a system that will be implemented in stages, that is more organized? The students are used to it. In the middle of nowhere, that all, you do not have examinations. And on what? Just a whim or a simple decision, a lazy decision by the Ministry of Education, because they don't want to do this in stages. Apparently, they have to do this relatively fast. And it's quite shocking. Closing the borders takes so long. Why? Because of the economy. What about the education? Take it as a serious matter. Why is it something like this? Do it in stages. When I was the Minister of Education in 2018, what did I do? Standard 1, Standard 2, Standard 3. Their examinations were abolished first. Then we follow to Standard 4, Standard 5, and Standard 6. Don't in the middle of nowhere, these students which were trained and practiced from Standard 1 to do examination, and in the middle of nowhere, it's gone. All the use trust they have been building up for this examination is gone. And now we're left with students with no sense of direction. They have nothing to prove they have achieved something during the year. The Form 1 and Form 4 students next year in 2022 are basically clowns. I, People have certificates result. This is my UPSR result. This is my PT3 result. What about these students? They're left with the alternative assessment method that is just lazy. And the number of respondents, merely 1,700 within their engagement sessions. Why is that? Why not make a questionnaire for every single student with a secured measure to log in, so that we don't have double or multiple submissions? Yes, you can make it into a questionnaire, because going to each unique perspective is relatively hard. But by looking at the majority, we're in a democratic country. Come up with a solution, not like something that is just out of nowhere. How about we cancel PT3, abolish UPSR? On what? Just simple reasons, just like that. Don't be lazy. Come up with something better. I think that's all from me. I'll pass it back to the moderator.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Mazli, for the very beneficial sharing of your view. Now, why don't we invite our last panelist, Professor Madya Dr. Azlin, to share with us her view to see her own standpoint in this matter. The floor is all yours.
Thank you to the moderator, Ms. Soraya, for giving me the opportunity to share my opinion today. So I'm Prof. Madya Dr. Azlin Nohani Mansu, a lecturer at Faculty of Education in UKM. So today, I'm here to express my perspective. So the abolishment of UPSR and the cancellation of PT3 result in the enhancement of the PBS and PBD, which PBS is Pentaksiran Berasaskan Sekolah and PBD is Pentaksiran Bilik Darjah, which is a good and effective way for the development of students holistically. We see this assessment encompass the physical, emotional, intellectual, and aspect of students in education. So priorly, UPSR only focused on academic achievement through the examination. And in fact, we even can ensure that this examination-based assessment increase the intellectual wellness of the students, as they are being familiarized with the memorization of the theory from the textbook and tons of practice drills of the past year examination papers. So now I totally understand this, some citizen concern, like Dr. Mazli has said. So how can we ensure that the future of students, if there are no UPSR examination that assess them equally, what is the next plan? So just as I mentioned before, the government now need to focus on the implementation of PBD in schools, as well as making the curriculum equally important as the PBD. So PBD is a continuous assessment throughout the process of learning in class. Its purpose is not to differentiate students based on their intelligence, but to view the progress in development of each student for every subject in class. So it is important for us to remember that each student has different intelligence. So PBD helps to assess students when they are active in class, expanding their ideas, thus encouraging their creativity and also enhancing their understanding during their active learning in class. So I believe that UPSR abolishment will not affect students' future, as we still have an unlimited assessment for the students' academic. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Professor, for the very insightful view you shared with us just now. Hence, from our forum, it can be concluded that the sharing done by the panelists present today can be divided into two, where there are parties that stand to support the government's decision and the other party that opposes this matter with their own reasoning. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that we as citizens of Malaysia should try our best to support our country in incorporating this change into our education system. Thus, that will be all for our online forum today. I am Soraya Din signing off as the forum's moderator. Thank you and have a good day.